Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Roger, you're at Limits Edge Machine Works. Today we're going over this FrankenHonda build. It's an F series with K series pistons in it, all of 86mm bore. Let me get this last piston off and I'll show you what we got going on. While you're tearing down any engine, you want to number your connecting rods and your connecting rod caps together, just like this one here where you can see the hand-scribed 2s, because they're all marked the same from the factory. You want to use a rotary engraver or a vibrating engraver. I wouldn't hammer and stamp numbers in connecting rods or things that you want to use inside of a violently shaking engine. It can cause a stress crack. I want to show you one of the ways that you could at home hone up an engine. Now full disclosure here, we need to understand what we're talking about when we're talking about honing and why we're doing this. We're not honing to a size here or to correct anything. We're not doing anything but giving these new rings a good surface to seal on here. The cylinders develop a glaze in them as they wear, and this is a used block. I recommend, it's good practice to hone or break the glaze on any cylinder that you're going to put a new set of rings in. The key to this is cleanliness, believe it or not. Hot soapy water is what I've got in this bucket with a little bit of degreaser. You want to be careful using anything like that on aluminum. We'll wipe these cylinders out. Now, very importantly, I want you guys to know, from this stage forward in engine assembly and engine work, you should be using lint-free towels. Little bits of lint fly off and get everywhere. And that doesn't fly, they get underneath bearings, they plug up things. Bad for things. I've seen it wipe out. I've seen the lint from rags wipe out numerous engines, so just don't do it to yourself. Likewise, the hone that we're using here is just got spring pressure. It's not going to set to a size, it's not going to remove a lot of material. You can set spring pressure here with this spring, and you want to collapse it by hand before you stick it into the cylinder and then release it by hand. Never drag it in and out, never run the hone out of the cylinder hole. And we're going to keep this guy clean too, so he's going to get a wash in the hot soapy water. Both directions there. Anytime your stones stop cutting, you'll be able to feel it kind of just stop working. Doesn't do as much. You want to back out and clean everything. Now, you want to use some good honing oil or 10W30 or a mixture of the two. You don't want to do this operation dry. And we'll do one cylinder at a time. I'll just do one real quick. Show you what we're doing. I can put a little oil on my stones too. You want to use a medium speed and go in and out pretty quick. Just like that. You're looking for a crosshatch pattern there. Remember, I've already oiled all of these cylinders. Now again, we want to wipe those out with that hot soapy water. A good test to know when you've got it clean enough is when a white rag will go in and out and not leave any marks. So even though we've just cleaned that, it's still dirty. And that's better. I'll go ahead and get the rest of those cleaned, and then we'll check this for size. Now I want to pass over this block with a light one more time so you can see what we're seeing. There's a little bit of streaking on the cylinder wall, but you cannot feel it at all. And we'll see what the dial bore gauge shows us. Now we're going to check this block to see if it's flat. Before you do that though, you want to clean the top of it as best you can. I want to let you know I can see almost all the original machine marks in the top of this block, and that is a good sign. That's what you want to see. There's hardly any corrosion, and nobody's taken a die grinder or a Scotch-Brite wheel to it or anything like that. That's the last thing you want to do. I want to show you the two tools that you need to resurface and condition a block that's in good shape. This is it. You need a razor blade, a Scotch-Brite pad. Be careful with the razor blade, don't cut yourself. If there's anything stuck down to it, or any deep dark spots that may be crusty, you can take the razor and go right over them like this. A spot like that, maybe an old piece of a gasket or something, you can go around the entire surface. And you can take this Scotch-Brite and work it evenly around. Try not to focus in one spot too hard. I've left a little bit here on the corner that isn't cleaned up yet. It's nice and dark still. That's about all you need to do though. It doesn't have to be super shiny. The important parts about getting this to seal again are that it's flat, smooth, and uniform. And what I've got is a straight edge and a set of feeler gauges. That's how we're going to check to see if it's flat. My thin one here is 1.5 thou. And I'm going to check as many different ways as humanly possible, honestly. There are sciences to checking for flatness. But basically, you want to make sure that that feeler gauge drags everywhere you put it. No matter how you put it. And check diagonally as well. So everywhere I check with the feeler gauge on this head, or on this deck, it is at least within 1.5 thou of being perfectly flat. So the deck is flat. Now I want to show you how to check the cylinder bore. Alright, so now what we're doing is going to check the bore diameter. If you'll pay attention to how this worksheet's set up, it'll show you exactly what we're doing. We're going to check across, and front to back, and in 3 different positions. Not the 4th one, that's a little bit excessive for this. And then we're going to record all of it. I'm going to go about 3/4 of an inch down, maybe 1 inch down. As long as you're uniform and use the same strategy everywhere you measure, you're doing the right job. That's coming in 4 over. And my nominal bore diameter is 86 millimeters, and that's 3.386 inch. So if I'm 4 thousandths over that, that means I'm coming in at 3 inches, 390 thousandths right there. Now I want to check here. 90 degrees opposite of that. In fact, I gotta turn it this way. Sorry for the bad shots. I try to let you guys see as much as I can, but still a one-man band too. There we go. And that's 3 over there, 3 inches, 389 thousandths. I'm gonna stop talking and I'm just gonna go through and do the rest of this measurement. One more thing, at the bottom you want to measure right above the cylinder's wear. Don't get down there where it's not worn at all. You're not measuring anything. 3 over bore right there. So that's our measurements now, what we're looking at. Everything from 3.389 to 3.391. Not bad. We did have one 3.388 right there. So 3.386 is our nominal bore. So most of them are within 2, maximum 3 thousandths of each other as far as outer roundness. Not much difference in taper. I'm going to say it's a good used block. One more thing I do want to do though is check the pistons, make sure they actually measure 86. I don't know if you can see it, but that's right on the money. 3.386. That there tells you that we're within what I would call a good used spec, and it's actually really nice. I like what we're seeing here. All we want to do now is set our piston rings in. And we're going to use this tool that I've made now. And I won't show setting in piston. I'm not going to file rings right now. We'll make a separate video for how to set end ring gap clearances. For a naturally aspirated build though, they're going to pretty much come right out of the box pre-gapped to the correct tolerance most of the time. You do want to check it. If you're going to boost your engine, if you're going to run a lot of nitrous, you're going to want to open that gap up. The reason being is just as you put more horsepower to a cylinder, rings try to heat up and expand a little bit, and there's no room for them. The gap seals up, and then they try to expand more, and it'll just blow the ring lands out of your piston, gall your cylinder walls up. I mean, it just ruins the engine, ruins the piston, ruins the blocks. Bad deal. Don't do it. But for a naturally aspirated, it's kind of a stock build. You're probably not going to have to adjust anything. Just check them. And what you're going to do there is put them down in there, set them to a uniform depth, and then use a feeler gauge to see how much that gap is. And typically, I think what if memory serves me, you're looking at like about 4 thousandths times the bore diameter to get your gap there. Look it up though. Your ring manufacturer, your piston manufacturer, they'll tell you. The book will tell you. What else was? Oh, I was going to tell you. A tool you can make if you don't have one of these is to just take one of your old pistons or an old piston that's the right diameter and just put one piston ring in there. We can take this one out. Wipe some of this schmoo off. And this can be your tool for setting those to a uniform depth. Again, the actual depth that you're setting to isn't as critical. As you can see, the bore is pretty uniform in diameter. But you can use this tool like this to set a piston ring in there, set it to a uniform depth off of that piston ring there, and then check your clearances. So you do have tools laying around. If you don't realize it, you know, you might save a used set of pistons. You never know what you could use them for. We've gone over how to tear one down. Now I didn't show that yet, but I'll cut to the video of the tear down and kind of fast forward through all that and patch it in at the end. How to check for flatness, how to hone a little bit and check bore diameter. Those are some of the things that, at least at a bare minimum, that you want to do on a used engine that you're putting together, or if you're going to reman an engine or rebuild an engine. These are some of the things that you're checking and doing. These are things that you can do at your house. Whatever you're working on today, I want you to know that we here at Limits Edge, we have faith in you. You can do this too. We're showing you how we do the budget used parts build here without any actual resizing, no boring, no honing to size, and no super fancy equipment on this one. This is stuff that everybody can do at home. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll show you more on this later. Check back with us. We're going to have that more on that Malibu, more on CRX transmission. Those two projects are moving right along. We've got more great videos coming for you, so please, if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button, like our video, share it, comment on what you want to see next. You guys have the best day of your lives today. Thanks.
storm will be here later. I'm going to class.
Okay.
Hopefully no tornadoes didn't. Oh, you're filming.
Look at that's going on there, you know.